So, calling the September planning board hearing to order. Uh, First item up on the agenda is the Hudson Performance application. Did we do a signature? So we need to. Good morning. So we just go over the seeker for this Hudson Performance thing first, and then we.
Oh, we did.
We did?
Which list? Oh, we did. Yeah, it's just. Here you read the short form.
We did,
Well, I think we're over Kaylee's, right? Were you submitted?
but we didn't do the question.
Not the.
I wasn't
Maybe
here.
we did.
Oh. I think
What are
we're,
the minutes? What are the minutes say?
I think we were reading, we weren't reading the resolution because we're waiting for.
We're waiting for the county to.
Right, so we got the counties, just one. Let's just check, I guess, I mean, or we just do it again, I mean. There's no harm in that. I doubt it'll be,
Don't have it. Where would I attach it? If we do it?
okay. All right, in the county,
Yeah.
what was it, you have that?
Yep.
And stop. Oh, wait, we did see this, right? The landscaping plan and the.
Yeah.
and-
Yes.
Lighting
It's
plan.
set for the preliminary, like.
Oh, right.
He said, yeah, he said it'll come.
You do the sign off on it.
Lighting. Okay. So the counties. The department recommends that the board rely upon its own study of the facts in this case with due consideration to the above comments. So it's, so that means, so that, it doesn't say the whole. Oh, okay, yeah, local concern with comments, is what, so those are just suggestions for us to look at. All right, so with that, we go, look at the, oh, Jack, is there any movement on the
DOT.
DOT thing? Yeah.
Hey, good evening, all. Yes, we've engaged with a traffic consultant to do the DOT analysis. They are currently engaged. We should be receiving information back from them within 2 weeks.
So
That's
information,
DOT approval?
that's with comments as far as like they're looking at the application, like what did you give to them so far?
We have given them the site plan. They are doing a drawing to show the constriction of the current curb cuts to comply with DOT regulations, and also doing a turnaround study within the parking lot of the site.
But that's not the DOT. He's talking about a private study?
No, that's the DOT.
It's being done by an engineer for the DOT approval. A private engineer.
And then that, so the private engineer is working on the plan that will then be submitted to the DOT.
Correct.
And obviously in our resolution, we have the condition of approval that they get the DOT permit.
Yes, that's included.
And they did submit a letter as well. I assume everybody saw that.
How that came in there, can we pull that up real quick? Please,
Yes. So,
what's that? Oh, Anthony, can you pull up the lighting plan, please?
Yes, one moment.
I'm sorry.
So all LED fixtures, all dark sky compliant. No spillage. Everything seemed appropriate when I looked at it.
So the photometric data is quite small, but I'll zoom in on it. I believe the requirements are, for any light levels abutting a commercial property, it's within 0.3. And you guys could take a look at this in more depth if you'd like, but we're at 0.1, 0.0 along the adjacent property. On this side of the building, there are no lights, so that's not a concern. Facing the road, we're at 0.3 maximum. So what this study shows is that the light levels are compliant with your requirements, and then we also have the cut sheet with the light exposure and also the dark sky compliant factor of the fixture.
Okay. So I'm writing a note, one second. All right, so anyone have any questions, or do you guys want to move on to the secret review? Right, so. What's that?
Ready.
Oh, I
I
thought it
didn't
was.
say I'm only thinking.
Must have been loud. All right, so obviously answer all these questions. It'll either be no or small impact or moderate to large impact. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? I'll say no. Well, obviously, if you guys disagree with anything I'm marking down, please speak up. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of the land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affecting existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No, or small impact. Public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No, or small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No, or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora and fauna? No, or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problem? No, or small impact. Will the proposed action create a hazard to, excuse me, gentlemen, I'm sorry, it's just distracting me, I'm sorry, it's not being too loud. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No, or small impact. So for every question in part 2 that was answered, moderate to large impact may occur, or if there's a need to explain why a particular element or proposed action may or will not result in a significant adverse environmental impact, please complete part 3. There was none that we answered yes. So let's go to check the box that says check this box if you determine that based on the information and analysis above, any supporting documentation that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And checking that box. Everyone agrees?
Yes.
Um. Yeah. So next I will read the resolution.
We do need to take Vicky off.
What? Oh, yeah,
And
I did.
whatever.
I crossed them. Yeah, I'll let Barbara know when I have a chance. Huh. This one is right.
Yeah, the one on the email today, I think.
Did you guys? Yes, this one had Vicky Leo. Okay. Town of Pine Plains Planning Board Resolution approving the application of Hudson Performance Center for special permit and site plan approval for the adaptive reuse of an auto repair shop at 2700 Route 199 Pine Plains, New York. Whereas the Hudson Performance Center LLC hereinafter referred to as HPC has made application to the planning board for site plan and special permit approval for the adaptive reuse of property located at 2700 Route 199 Pine Plains, New York. And whereas the subject property is located in the town's light industrial LI zoning district, which permits the location and operation of such a facility subject to special permit and site plan review. And whereas the existing use of the premises constitutes a valid non-conforming use of the premises, and whereas the application and site plan for the proposed use of the premises has been reviewed by the town's consulting engineer and the town's attorney, as well as the planning board members, and whereas the public hearing on said application was opened on July 10th, 2024, and was continued to August 14th, 2014, at which time the public hearing was closed, and whereas the applicant has submitted a phase 1 environmental site assessment performed by Velocity Consulting Inc., which demonstrates that there are no environmental conditions on said site that require a phase 2 study. And whereas the applicant has requested that the planning board, pursuant to the authority vested in the planning board by section 275-56, waive the requirements of 275-56H. 56H1, H3, and H4, and H6 of the Pine Plains zoning code related to automotive repair businesses. And whereas the planning board has determined that the requirements of those sections are not requisite to the interest of public health, safety, and general welfare, or inappropriate to the particular special use permit applied for, and that those waivers are granted. And whereas the planning board reviewed the short form environmental assessment form for the project at its September 11th, 2024 meeting, and determined that this action does not have the potential for significant environmental impacts and that a draft environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the said application is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions: that the applicant obtain a DOT approval for the driveway cut onto Route 199 and provide. I mean, as a matter, it says cuts.
A proof of said.
The applicant obtain, I'm sorry, Warren, and provide
We're
proof.
missing, should be and provide proof,
Well, for the driveway cuts onto Route 199 and provide proof of such approval to the planning board chairman prior to the signing of the site plan map. that the operation of the facility be conducted in accordance with the approved site plan by the planning board, including the lighting plan, which must be dark sky compliant. That all application escrow fees and other charges imposed in this application by the planning board and town code be paid prior to the signing of the site plan by the planning board chairman. Was there not a there was no DOH? They're not doing anything with the septic? I thought, I thought that was the
email that said. They said there was
Working.
no change, they said it was continued,
Yeah.
no change from the
DOH is
previous
okay with
use.
it working.
So we already have the approval from DOH,
I saw the letter.
so we don't need to put that in here. Agreed, Warren?
That's fine.
Okay,
The hearing was closed on July. Just. Did you,
it was not continued.
that was this closure.
All right, so I'm just amending the whereas where it talks about the hearing that was opened and closed. Okay. Under the lights then. You fix the subhouse first.
Yeah, that's usually.
Okay. And there was no building going on. I thought the building was going on top of
I
something.
think they've revised.
Revised, okay. Sorry, small. All right, so with that. We will take a roll call vote. Dick,
Yeah,
Kate,
Yes.
Al,
aye,
Ethan,
Yes.
and I also vote aye. Let it be shown that the resolution passed. Maybe 4, 5, 6 to 0. Mhm. Where are they on the escrow and stuff? And we'll probably backlog, man.
The bot check.
I have to get invoices processed. All right, we'll let you know where you are in escrow and what other outstanding bills, that are out there. All right, well, thank you, Anthony.
Yes, thanks to the board. Thanks for your patience, your time, and your due diligence. It's been good getting to know you over the last few months, and we appreciate it.
Likewise. Take good luck with the project.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is the Chetty Slaughterhouse Review. I don't know who's gonna, Matt talking? Matt, do you have any updates for us on things?
Good evening, everyone. No significant updates. Just looking to get the site plan approval. We submitted the full environmental assessment form the morning after last month's meeting. So I think that's kind of the final piece.
Did we keep we kept the hearing open for this?
We'll close the hearing this one.
We'll close it. Have you heard anything further from the county DOH?
We can't submit until we get a negative deck. So after tonight's meeting, we'll be ready to submit soon thereafter.
Bugs.
Count the windows.
Anyone get a chance to review the resolution?
Yeah.
Kate, you checking out
I'm just.
Okay. questions on? Matt, remind me, there's no dumpster outside, or was there a small dumpster outside? I can't remember. What was the thing on the right,
There,
on the,
yeah, there's
what?
a dumpster on the northeast corner of the building, which we added a fence around.
And what's gonna be in that dumpster?
Just trash.
So all the animal products will be stored inside till the whatever removal service comes from them, is that correct?
Correct.
Warren, can we put something in here about that?
About the dumpster.
About that, yeah,
Right, close.
not about the animal product dumpsters.
It's mentioned,
It is,
well, it's mentioned that has to be
There's something in
refrigerated.
there about that.
it is, where is that?
Yeah.
28 on the last page.
This may have a few mistakes because we dashed this out.
Yeah, so there are a couple typos in here, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Helpful refrigerated and stored inside the facility.
oh, okay, good. I missed that, I'm sorry. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to add any other condition, feel free to do so. These are the ones that I picked up from the record.
Thank you very much. I was my only concern about stuff like that. I wouldn't plan.
Do our like code enforcement officers ask people for their proof of their licenses? I mean, it's in here. I'm just wondering, like, do they do that at other businesses?
Well, if we can because we're approving this, we can add that as a condition.
No, I mean, it's in here. I'm just
Right.
wondering, like, do you do that at like
Oh,
milers or like, yeah.
Well, we did it with the marijuana place, didn't we?
I mean, I don't know if anyone checks, but
And do you have like a process for checking on these licenses, like, with the marijuana facility?
I mean, I just
And,
wonder,
with
like,
this
you
specific-
don't go to a restaurant and say, are you, you're
No,
just shut down.
Yeah, they're not gonna get a license until the place is developed.
right, but with this instance, like. I don't know, do we do that with the daycare too? Like if the license is revoked at any time? Do you have a process for checking on new license?
I really don't, I can get.
I have language in the resolution. though.
No,
Oh, I
I'm
know,
saying it's there. I'm just wondering if that's like overkill. Like you don't go into people's businesses and say, Yeah, let me see your license. There's an authority,
Well, the problem is that,
USDA is overseeing them.
well, the problem is that the license is issued after we grant site plan approval and special use permit approval for this. The real nitty gritty of the approval, the inspection and approval of the facility will be done by USDA. So we want to make sure that that's done and that they are
So-
issued a license.
So maybe just not say annual.
Hmm?
Like by saying annual, you're saying like every year you have to go in and make sure that they have their license.
No, what he did. How he,
No, they have to submit proof that the license is still in effect, hasn't been revoked.
Not unreasonable. It's not gonna take them very much.
Not very much required.
I'm just saying like, we don't do that for anybody else, but
This
this
is, it.
probably has to be set up
it's not.
to do.
We haven't had it. Slaughterhouse has it.
The daycare is a special circumstance. The marijuana manufacturer is a special circumstance. This is a special circumstance.
If you don't have a USDA license, USA is gonna shut it down, not you guys.
Oh, no, we know.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
what
do
I'm-
anything without that anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why make it something that has to be enforced
By us.
by us when we don't even have that in place to do? I mean, we'd have to follow up and make sure that our zoning enforcement officers go around every year and do that too, but
Because if USDA shuts him down, then he's not doing anything anyways.
But like, something, well, like, I'm not saying this happened, don't do that, but like, they could start doing other stuff. And then we wouldn't know, because we would just see like, if it's operating there. And I mean, then of course we get into like, in this instance, we get into like agriculture stuff. So let's go to the, like the pot place, right? All of a sudden, like they got their license revoked and they were still operating or doing something else out of that. We probably want to know. It's our duty to know or to find out, to make sure that people are following the rules. Whatever, I mean, again, it's not so onerous that it's it just requires like sending it to Ed, sending to the town, like, hey, does the USDA license get renewed on a yearly basis or just continually? It's just continuing. So it's not like it's a yearly thing that expires. It expires only if you do something
I
wrong.
mean, the place is specific. You say do something else, it's not gonna become a flower shop next.
I was just giving an example for this sort of follow-up and whatever application. I was, again, not specific to this. I don't think it's that onerous to just leave it in there.
We take out annual, it doesn't pigeonhole us into checking it annually. Like you
right.
said.
I mean, I have no problem. I'm just saying like, it's probably,
Take out.
unless there's something put in place, it's probably never gonna do.
Yeah,
If the town has concerns, you can ask them for it, right? If you don't have the annual.
On request of the zoning enforcement officer, would that? So if we change, instead of providing on an annual basis, but to provide proof. When requested to the
Upon
zoning
request, yeah.
enforcement, upon request of the zoning enforcement officer.
Is that gonna happen?
Well, I don't think
If
it's gonna
there's
happen
concern, it would only
annually.
be if there was a concern.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
The argument is that the other thing might not happen either.
It's up to you.
I like that, I like that. Provide proof upon request. Oh. So if the zoning enforcement officer wants to make a yearly thing, he could, obviously don't harass them every month. Okay.
Michael, just to note, we're a little different than like a marijuana facility because technically we could fall out of USDA and still process meat. We would not be able to sell it to the public, but we could still process that for private individuals. Not that that's
Correct.
our intention, but in the event that, say there was a violation and you needed 2 weeks to correct it, we could still be processing, but we would be restricted. So the facility
Right.
can still operate.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, you're governed by a larger entity than us,
This would be nice to know.
yeah. So I,
So I think if you like
Thank-
it upon
yeah.
request.
Upon request is perfect.
All right. Anything else, Kate? Did you finish?
oh, sorry, I stopped there.
No, that's, I don't know if you were done or anything. Where you go? What was that?
You changed claim and between,
Yeah, I got that. I did rotate.
okay, I'm good.
All right, so let's, the applicant, fix the deficiencies in the seeker. Okay, not with the part one. And now, we're gonna go over the part two. Again, just like the last application, I'm gonna read the questions. It's either no or small impact may occur, or moderate to large impact may occur. If any of the board members disagrees with how I'm marking it down, you speak up, discuss it. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adapted land use plan or zoning regulation? No. Will the proposed action result in the change in the use or intensity of the use of the land? Well, no or small impact, so no or small. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No or small impact. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No or small. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No or small. I didn't, we didn't actually, are you guys gonna be doing any of that, Matt? Are you gonna be putting solar on the roof or anything?
The short form part, yeah.
That's not in the plan. We're gonna have it across the street.
What's that?
Be here for
Have it across.
3 months if we have to go.
Have what across it?
That's just all.
You talking about Carson?
Yeah.
Oh, no, so
No,
no, I was
that's-
just curious. Well, I know you do that, I know you have it on your property. Your
Yeah,
prostitution?
we already have that on the farm and we're offsetting. We got 64 kW of solar on the farm already, on the barns.
Okay, will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No. No or small impact, obviously not no. Public-private wastewater treatment facilities. Small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No or small. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in increase in potential for erosion, flooding, drainage problems? No or small impact. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No or small. Check this box if you've determined based on the information and analysis above and any supporting documentation that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. We're checking that box. Everyone agrees?
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah, it's yours.
Now to move on to the resolution. Town of Pine Plains Planning Board Resolution approving special use permit application and site plan approval for construction and operation of a slaughterhouse on tax parcel number 134200972-00-790173-0000. Whereas Matthew Cacchetti in or about May of 2024 made application for site plan and special use permit approval for a 10,000 square foot slaughterhouse and associated 19,900 square foot parking area, loading area. A new gravel access drive, site lighting and landscaping improvements on a parcel of land owned by Peter Cacchetti as trustee of Prospect Hill Farm Trust. And whereas the property is located at 424 Prospect Hill Road, Pine Plains, New York, and consists of approximately 217.58 acres, which are presently used for agricultural purposes. And whereas the property is located in the town's R or rural zoning district, whereas the town's zoning enforcement officer has reviewed the application and determined that the proposed use is permitted as a manufacturing facility in the town's R zoning district. Whereas the property is located in agricultural district number 21. Yeah. Whereas the planning board designated this application as a unlisted action for purposes of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, but required the applicant to submit a full environmental assessment form, which has been reviewed by the planning board, the town engineer, and the town attorney. And whereas the site plan and other submission documents for the project have been reviewed by the planning board, the town's engineer and the attorney to the town have been forwarded to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for its review and comment pursuant to section 239M of the general municipal law. Whereas the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development by letter dated June 24th, 2024, commented that the proposed project would provide a much needed service not only to farmers in the town of Pine Plains, but to farmers throughout Dutchess County by providing a more local option for processing livestock and would be a vital asset in supporting local agricultural economy, and further provided the comments regarding the lighting plan for the facility, but recommended the planning board rely on its own study of the facts in this case, which with due consideration of its comments. And whereas the planning board opened the public hearing on June 14th, 2024, and continued the public hearing to July 14th, 2024, and August 14th, 2024, at which time the public hearing was closed. Whereas the planning board on September 11th, 2024 meeting reviewed the full environmental assessment form and no, wait a minute here. Warren, but we just did a short form on.
So you did it's an unlisted action, so a long form. We just requested a long form because we wanted more information about the site and the project. But you can use the short form to do your environmental determination.
Okay, we're gonna have to make note of that here.
We just did for the record. That's it.
All right, whereas the planning board on September 11th.
You could pass it around, everybody can read a paragraph, so that'll help you out.
Alright. I mean, reviewed the full environmental assessment form and the project site plan and other documentation submitted in support of the application and determined that the action would not result in any significant environmental impacts, and that as a result, a draft environmental impact statement would not be required to be prepared. And whereas the applicant, in addition to the site plan and lighting plan, has prepared a grading plan and stormwater pollution prevention plan, which has been reviewed by the town's engineer and found to be acceptable. And whereas the applicant has submitted an agricultural data statement and notification was sent to all farm operations within 500 feet of the subject parcel. And whereas the proposed slaughterhouse facility is subject to the inspection and licensing requirements of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Department of Agriculture facility guidelines for meat processing plants hereinafter referred to as USDA guidelines. And whereas the planning board has been notified by the USDA that the applicant must obtain a site plan and special permit approval for the facility before it will be inspected and issued a license by USDA. And whereas the planning board has determined that the proposed facility complies with 11 objectives set forth in section 275-55D of the town zoning code, is in compliance with the requirements of
Should be
right? Yeah. And is in compliance with the requirements of section 275-63 of the town code site plan approval, parentheses, special permit approval, and
Well, that was a little screwed up.
yeah, why is it?
275-55 was special permit approval, so that should go up.
Just parentheses after
Up
this.
there.
So just parentheses after, so move this up to here.
275-63 are the site plan criteria.
And then that just stays there. Chris, do you understand what I'm doing here? So this
Mhm.
special permit approval goes up here and then that just stays there, but put in parentheses. And whereas the applicant has indicated in its submission existence of Indiana bats on the subject premises, but no other endangered species or species of special concerns. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby grants site plan and special permit approval to the applicant for the construction and operation of a slaughterhouse, parking, loading area, a new gravel access drive, site lighting, and landscaping improvements subject to the following conditions: that the applicant construct and conduct its slaughterhouse operation in accordance with the site plan and lighting plan submitted to and approved by the planning board. That the applicant construct and operate the facility in accordance with the USDA guidelines for meat processing plants and in accordance with all conditions imposed by USDA in conjunction with the licensing of the facility, and that the proof of said licensing be provided to the planning board chairman and the zoning enforcement officer prior to the commencement of the operation of the facility. That the applicant immediately notify the planning board and zoning enforcement officer of any violation or suspension of the USDA license and provide proof upon request to the zoning enforcement officer that the license is in full force and effect and has not been revoked or suspended. That the applicant install such lighting and screening in accordance with the approved site plan screening and lighting plans submitted to the planning board. That the applicant obtain a driveway permit from the New York State DOT and provide proof of issuance of the permit to the planning board chairman and the town zoning enforcement officer. 6, that the applicant shall 1, obtain final approval of the SWIP from the town engineer. 2, shall provide proof of receipt of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation of the notice of intent. 3, provide final approval of the SWIP to the town engineer and the zoning enforcement officer. 4, operate the facility in conjunction with the requirements of the SWIP. 7, that any tree clearing conducted in conjunction with the project shall be in accordance with the protocol for tree clearing prescribed by the DEC for the Indiana bats. 8, That the facility shall be maintained and operated in a clean and sanitary manner, and all offal be refrigerated and stored inside the facility, and all animals housed shall be housed inside the facility. 9, that all application escrow fees and other charges imposed on the application by the planning board and town board be paid prior to the signing of the site plan by the chairman. Okay, with that, does anyone have any issues or questions?
Point two. Directly contradicts that they'd be able to operate without a USDA license. So like Matt said, if they lose their licensing for 2 weeks because they have a violation or something before getting it back, they wouldn't be able to sell, yes, but by that verbiage, they wouldn't be able to talk. Am I reading that correctly? Sure. So the stipulation to them operating at all is with USDA licensing.
I don't know how it's done. Because we're relying on the USDA to regulate what's happening inside the place. We're not looking at anything beyond the walls. I don't see how we could not have that clause. And that issue would then
Yeah.
come up. And like Jack was saying, if they lose it for like a week or something, they just have to get something buttoned up.
So what would you say again? Number 2,
So point 2, resolve on the resolve,
yeah,
paragraph 2, is, yeah, it's basically saying if you don't have USDA approval, you can't operate.
Even if it's private animals and whatnot.
You know, another thing on that point. Another local slaughterhouse does deer. Deer is under USDA. So that is a whole process where you don't need a USDA license and you're still using the facility.
Are you thinking of doing that?
No, but that's, just making a point that there are things you're still doing in the slaughterhouse if it, not under USDA.
Yes, but it's a different type of facility. We're approving essentially a retail facility. The other would be private slaughtering of animals. So they'd have to come back for when we would amend the application.
What happens if they lose it like for like there's like a violation, they lose it for a couple of weeks or
Mhm.
So you think that like if something were to happen and USDA has an issue, like you close for like, oh, you lose it, takes like a couple of weeks to get it resolved, you'd still be
It's still
slaughtering.
something like other slaughterhouses that. They watch everything you do. If you don't kill the animal in the two spots or 2 times tries, they may shut you down and send the guys back to school and go. You may kill. If there's an accidental discharge of a gun. I mean, there's lots of reasons that they can shut you down. And it may just be that you shut down for a day or 2 and there's a reschooling like any other job.
But in that instance, you wouldn't try to keep operating as the cost like
Certainly not.
Yes, Al?
No, I'm thinking because they don't completely lose their certification, right? Because it's a process of just repairing the violation, right? So it's not like they've rescinded the entire approval, right? It's just, all right.
So it would only come to the problem if they were to,
Be closed long
if
term.
they were to take, yeah, like if the USDA was gonna like revoke their license, definitely.
So that'll be a.
or they wanted to shut down for the season and do deer. But you don't think that's the thing?
I'm just kind of giving you
Right.
other, everything you're saying is relying on it being USDA, but
Right.
there's other factors that, that it could still run, even though you're not running under the USDA. There's a local slaughterhouse that shuts down for a month and just does deer kills. He's still a USDA slaughterhouse.
But you still be cooperating with the USDA under those parameters though, that, okay, you still just, hey, you fix these issues or whatever you gotta do. And it's not as if they've lost it out. That's what I'm picturing, is you're still cooperating. picture like the DOT violations, sometimes with a trucking company, sometimes you don't, they don't completely shut you down, but they give you a certain time frame to, all right, you have to fix
Yeah.
these things within this time frame. And then you can continue to operate during that time, but. The review.
But if they were to do some sort of longer term thing, we'd have to come back.
I think, yeah, I would say that's covered.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it, you could just say if there's if you decide to not be a USDA slaughterhouse, we need to come back.
It's hard because, like I said, we rely on the USDA to make sure everything is kosher on the side.
Well, I don't want to say kosher, a whole different can of worms.
We'll make the locals there.
Talk about answering to a higher authority, right?
That's shifting approval of a rabbi.
Our rabbi was there today with Jerry, he's next door.
I don't know. I don't see a way around.
No, and
And it's their intention to run it as a US facility.
So they're still cooperating with the USDA at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because you already have the clause that you can request the
Right.
certification. So if you happen to request it while they're, making improvements, it's or, adjustments. It seems reasonable to say, all right, we'll call you back in another week and see.
And there may be something in the USDA guidelines that says if you are non-compliant for a short time, you can still do this, and this, and that's their purview, not ours.
All right. So are we ready to vote on this?
Mhm.
I'm good. Oh, roll call vote. The resolution has making slight amendments that were made from these typos, etc. Dick,
Oh, yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Al,
Aye.
Ethan,
yes,
I also vote aye. Let be shown that the resolution carried by a 6-0 vote. And good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck, Matt.
Thank you to the
Obviously,
board, and
goodbye.
we look forward to making this a great project.
Right?
Thank you, guys.
I would keep it surprised of all the things requiring of you. DOT, DOA, all that stuff. Thank you. Good luck.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next up, Scott, are you here?
He's there, but his connection is.
Oh, he's there. Hi, Scott. How's the Adirondacks?
I think it's.
You're muted.
You're either muted or we can't hear you.
Oh, he is.
Can you hear us? Are you connected two different ways? Because one thing says you're muted, the other one says you're not.
Was he texting? No.
Well, what we have here is this is soon to be applicant. Made a presentation in front of the ZBA last month. And now as an informal presentation. And then now they are here to present the concept to the planning board. This is just a informal sketch plan. So you want to come up over here?
Sure.
And,
Thanks for having us. My name is Jamie Hamill. I'm the owner of the Hudson Company, this is Dan Leary.
Hi, good evening.
I apologize, you've heard this once before.
I don't.
My prepared remarks. So I own the Hudson Company. At 2290 and Route 199.
Scott, we're getting feedback from, I don't know if you're connected two different ways, but it was causing a feedback loop.
No problem. I own the Hudson Company. It's on 199 between the town and the Taconic. Probably seen it. It's the old Carvel facility. I've been here for 14 years. I started the company in 2010. And when I started this Reclaimed Wood Company in 2010, and sort of the height of the tech craze, all of my friends questioned why I would start a company in White Plains, New York. I tell them, well, it's not White Plains, it's Pine Plains. So they can think, Twitter, you should do Facebook. I'm going to Pine Plains for a Reclaimed Wood Company. And it was a long, dark haul by myself. But we have overcome some challenges and we now employ over 30 people. And we're doing pretty well. We're a very successful company. We have 4 showrooms around New York City, Connecticut. And this is our headquarters right here on Pine Plains. We manufacture all of our floors. We do about 700 jobs a year, and they range in size from little tiny Andean beams to the biggest project we've done is the Whitney Museum in New York City. Over those 14 years, I have maintained a very good relationship with the Durst organization, who is my landlord. But I have always wanted to build a proper facility with proper offices, proper showroom. Now that I have 30 employees, I really need a break room. I need nice bathrooms. I need a nice experience for my staff. And our clients are local, regional, national, and international architects who come to Pine Plains and love Pine Plains. They think it's beautiful. They've never been here before, many of them. But then they come to my facility and it's a bit of a letdown. And so my vision is to build a stunning facility. I've asked the Durst organization for about 12 to 14 years if they'd sell the property, and they won't. Because it's situated in a much larger context, as I'm sure you all know. And so I've been looking at Poughkeepsie, and I've been looking in Kingston and in Rhinebeck and everywhere. And very recently, 2 parcels became available in Pine Plains. On the corner, the intersection of Route 82 and Route 83, the old New England wholesale hardwoods went up for sale. Honestly, I've been calling and emailing them for years without response. And then somehow it went on the market, and I got a phone call literally within the first hour. And I think I'm the only active buyer. The adjacent property is owned by Dale Mitchell, and I have a map to show you. I am really interested in staying in Pine Plains for a variety of reasons. Of the 30 employees, many of them live in Pine Plains. A lot of them went to Pine Plains High School, or they live in Rhinebeck. Some come from Saugerties, some come from Kent, Connecticut, but this is a perfect location for many of them. Clinton Corners. Number 2, I have 14 years of history here. I've donated a floor to the Stissing Center. I sleep at the Inn at Pine Plains too often. I eat a Tower Pizza way too often. Like I go to that barber shop in town. I have a life here. And so to relocate would be challenging. And Pine Plains is also a really big part of our brand. We talk about it's called the Hudson Company. We are milled in the Hudson Valley. We talk about Pine Plains in our marketing collateral. It's really part of our DNA. And milled in Poughkeepsie just doesn't really roll off the tongue in the same way. And this is a really beautiful piece of land. The mill and the facility that I envisioned would look great on this corner. And so I'd love to show you this concept. This is an informal presentation. I have a vision. I have some sketches. It is not an official submission or submittal. But my hope is to kind of get some feedback from people in this room. We got a lot of positive feedback from the ZBA. I have not signed the contracts yet. And it would be a catastrophe if I signed the contracts and the planning board 6 months from now said, nope, it's not gonna happen. That would be really painful. So to the best of your ability, if you could give me your candid feedback, whether you like the idea or dislike the idea, that would be really helpful. So the land is 2 parcels. This is 2436 Route 83. This is used to be New England Wholesale Hardwoods. There's an existing 17,000 square foot facility right here. This is about 4 acres. And this is owned by Michael Georgia Populus, I've never met him. And this is another 2 acres or so owned by Dale Mitchell. And Stewart's is right here. Okay, just to give you the context.
So the two parcels that you would occupy are,
These two.
Yeah, just to clarify though, we would need a lot line realignment. We would be purchasing a portion of Mr. Mitchell's property, correct?
Yep, 2 acres.
And the proposal for that to be merged into the other property so that it would be one parcel. Right now, I don't believe. Well, I don't believe this line exists now. So I mean,
that is because
this line exists. I'm sorry, this line would have to be created to sever off that from the rest of Mr. Mitchell's property. So in addition to what we see as a need for site plan approval and special use permit approval from the planning board, we'd also need a lot line realignment. And that would be. Hopefully, that'd be currently the rest of it.
That's you, right?
So not the gazebo thing that.
No,
Yeah.
this is the gazebo.
Right.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
There's like a little whatever.
Drainage ditch
Drainage
it's
ditch.
called.
Where are the wetlands?
the wetlands, I was in them today.
Wetlands are very dry.
They're really not wet. That is such a misnomer. I'm
The flagged wetlands just need to know that.
down here.
Only,
They run
This
behind
little-
the DOT building.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah.
It stops about here. I'll have a formal map drawn.
Well, we'd have to, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the experts would have to look at it, because I mean, I took a walk on the property and it was there and looked, and there was definitely a lot of interesting things happening over here. First of all, this is all gravel. Right, but even again, like we learned in the other, we have to see what's actually there.
Field delineation.
Yeah, there's a lot of cattails and things, and there's piles of asphalt and gravel, and this here is all like gravel. Like it's surprisingly amount of gravel that's here. It's like it's
From the
under
highway
ground. It's from whoever over the
They
years,
hold it in there.
just like,
there's
I mean,
been a
this,
lot of excavation going on.
yeah, they put down gravel here like as a parking lot when whenever this was operating, the hardwood place. But then here, there's piles of things of concrete.
Pallets of stuff, isn't there?
I don't know if I saw any
Wood or
pallets.
something there, like stacked
Oh,
wood or
yeah, over
something?
there, yeah. So there's definitely a lot of stuff happening. But anyway, go ahead. So-
This is where you should say, we're gonna clean all of it.
Yeah, and again, this is a conceptual plan for discussion purposes. The issues that are being raised right now have to be better developed and
Obviously.
evolved. So we can't give you definitive answers on things right now, but we're working on those issues.
Dan is the lawyer and I, for lack of a better term, am the visionary, okay? And this is my first vision for what that property could be. A really beautiful showroom right on the corner with stone walls and lots of plantings. And this really charming bucolic entrance into Pine Place. It'll be very nice. Frankly, not only because you want it, but my clients need it. So I can romance them with old barnwood and hand-hewn beams and bring them into the warehouse and the manufacturing facility. This was drawn before I started learning about, the nuances of the property. So this is my vision, but obviously first drafts always have to be, revised. That gives you a sense of the vibe I'm going for. This is a more recent version. Sorry, it's not color, but the existing building, the manufacturing facility, the showroom on the corner, the stone walls, It's got a preliminary concept for where the septic tank would be, preliminary concept for stormwater, but this is by no means ready to submit. But I just want to show everybody that put a lot of work and effort and frankly money into this because we're really hoping that you'll like it. But Dan, there are a bunch of variances that we would be going for.
Right. So we did meet with the ZBA in August, and Mr. Chase is on the Zoom. And we've identified a number of variances that we're likely to need. One of them would be in the HMS zone. There's an aggregate of 12,000 square foot gross area for buildings. So what we're proposing right now would be going over that, right, to 20,000 square feet for the new building. And for the showroom would be 5,000 square feet, so that would be in conformity with that.
And the current building that's there.
The current building is 17,000, okay. Yeah, that's 17,000, so in addition, the HMS zone permits principal uses on one lot, however, they need to be in one building, the way we're reading that provision. So we would need to get an area variance to allow them to be standalone buildings. That's what our belief is at this point. Again, everything's preliminary. You know, we realize it has to be vetted further. We spoke with the ZBA about the fact that our understanding is that manufacturing has existed on the site since before 2009, which is when the zoning code went into effect. And that, you know, our understanding and belief is that it's a pre-existing non-conforming use that would be allowed to continue. So that would handle the production facility component of it. We also, at this point, the plan has not evolved to the point that we know exactly what all the dimensional requirements would be met, you know, with the bulk regulations, but we believe we can put something together that would conform to your zoning or just have slight variances from those requirements, and the lot coverage as well has to be confirmed. So we are going to need a number of variances. They're all area variances in our understanding, so we would have to go to the ZBA.
And so the new plan, or the newest plan, where would the manufacturing be happening?
That would be in a new building right here. Could be also maybe connected to it, but over here. And when we first spoke, I was going to put it back here.
Right, but
There's a lot of rock, etc. here, and the septic is Dale had a septic tank approved previously in this location, and that's where we were planning on putting it anyway. So I didn't. This is my first septic tank. To run a pipe from here to there through rock is not ideal, and so this would be beneficial.
So well, I mean, obviously, some of this is in Scott's area. And Scott, we can't have you talk, correct?
Yeah, I think I've resolved.
we
Can
can
you
hear
hear me
you.
now? I had a couple
can.
windows open, you know, I'm not a big techie.
Mm.
And understand that, you know, in my speaking, I'm just trying to convey that the same presentation was made to the ZBA. There were no promises made. I think it was the same thing, trying to get a feel. I think that I'm making generalities here. They're not necessarily my, not trying to say that it's, you know, my opinion, but what I got from the whole board, and we were pretty unanimous in thinking that this is an excellent project. The issues that we were concerned about was trying to look at the language in the law. It seems to be clearly a pre-existing non-conforming use. as it was explained to us, the existing building is not necessarily of the dimension or the layout that works great for manufacturing. The solution that was presented to us was to construct one that had a longer profile so that when you are going through the process of the wood, that it would have a longer length. And so the pre-existing manufacturing use would move to the new building. The old building would become a warehouse, which is a special permitted use. And so essentially, I think that the reading was that you can maintain a non-conforming pre-existing use. There is a certain allowance for expansion. I can't remember, 25 or 30%. They were expecting to remain within that. And so conceptually, the board seemed to be saying that they were very open to a project that would employ 35 to 50 people in Pine Plains on a site that has been significantly disturbed already. And building a really classy building at the entrance of town instead of 100-foot long gas pump, which would now be our building in town. And so I think that again, trying to just interpret the board, making no promises, it seemed like it was very favorably received. And it seemed like that the zoning would allow us, without doing use variance, that it could be area variances, that on a site that has already been used for the same use, it seemed like it was a possibility.
In your whole operation to this new facility?
We have two facilities, one in Hudson and then the main one is in Pine Plains. We moved them both here.
So that was my one question, is this non-conforming use being in the current building and then trying to transfer it to a new building?
I'd like to see a full description of what you're doing and what the rationale is for the non-conforming use, what variances you're applying for, and if I could get some copies of the of your maps. I can.
Well, I mean, are you guys ready? I mean, are we ready to submit an application, or you guys just want to hear what?
I don't think.
No, we're not ready to submit an application that would, be a code compliant application for site plan. At this point, it's strictly conceptual.
So my question is, who's paying for that? Have you review that? We don't have an application or escrow in front of us as of yet.
Well, I don't want to, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
What was your question?
I was just saying, like, obviously, if we start getting you involved, Warren, and like directly reviewing the documents, then.
Well, you can't get me involved
until we have
an
an escrow in it. So,
so I can't.
Right.
Grapple with the.
I understand.
I'm not that familiar with transferring a non-conforming use from one.
Well, our thinking was that the entire part, the pre-existing non-conforming use vests with the entire parcel. Because there's case law that shows that.
Yeah.
That was the thinking on it. So, but I understand, you would have to review it, and they'd be looking to you for legal advice.
Yeah, and technically you're actually expanding that initial site.
Right.
So it's like not exactly the same site.
Right.
You're going to extra 2 acres.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
Like a step grandfather clause.
Doesn't bother me particularly.
Well, that
Yeah,
being
right.
said, you know, if they could get past those hurdles,
And
like, I
Todd
think,
seems to think that we can.
I think it's, it's fantastic to have this showroom. We got right on the corner, gateway to the town. Talked about making the warehouse kind of buildings look farmy, something,
This is a metal building, the new one has to, has to be a metal building, but we could put something on the facade, we could do cupolas.
Flat it any way you want.
Yeah. If you know my company, the brand is Farmy and Hudson Valley E, so that works for both of us.
I find it curious, and we might end up with a Hudson company on this end of town and a Hudson Performance on the other side of town, and kind of changes its identity a little bit. To change our name to find Hudson Plains. There we go.
Just vaguely operating. It's been some years since they moved.
They operating pretty recently. I saw videos of the Dutchess County executives there. On Facebook, they were like doing they got a grant, and the Dutchess County
they're doing something.
I think that's
There's something going on there. There's like all kinds of machinery and like, they constructed some sort of like,
Barrels or something.
yeah, they have some sort of assembly line constructed in there, and
the machinery was
not like abandoned, and so there's stuff. I don't know what that guy was doing. It might not be the barrels itself, but like there's something happening.
There was machinery running when I was last inside in August.
And do you know when it was built? That building?
Well, we don't know. I did take a look at the town records. It appears that it was built in the early 1990s. I could not locate the actual
1995.
Yeah, 1995 on the property card, but there was I guess the approval may have been slightly earlier, but it was built in 1995 according to the property card. And of course, at that time, the 09 zoning was not in effect.
Right.
So I really only found I didn't find the actual resolution of approval, but I saw references to it in the file, and I saw that there were a number of lot line realignments done before the planning board over the course of the last 2 decades or so. Is it maybe more?
Really?
Anyway.
You don't say.
Those were the things that I saw in the file. And so that's about the timeline.
Yeah.
Almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know that this is conceptual discussion at this point, and it may be, I mean, one of the things that you may want to look at is, does it make sense to have one parcel or 2 parcels if you're trying to work around some of the things about one principal use? You might want to keep your showroom as a separate parcel, for instance. And I don't know enough about your business plan or things like that, but from the town's perspective, just looking back at having served on the plan committee and the zoning committee and all that stuff, it seems like something that the town would like to encourage. It's not a large scale employer. It's making use, hopefully, improving a site that already exists. And so I would hope that we can work with the applicant, and obviously we need to do our environmental review. There is that little I don't know, the wetland that maybe fortunately for these particular people, and maybe unfortunately for the critters that were there, it seems like there has been massive filling and the site and disturbance to the site. And that's not gonna change. That's already occurred. So is there some way that something happens that is beneficial for the town?
Not mentioned a warehouse. Your intention is not to put a warehouse. It's manufacturing in one building, retail space, showroom in another, correct?
It'd be 3 total buildings, retail showroom on the Route 82 corner. The existing warehouse would be a warehouse.
Okay.
And then the new facility would be manufacturing. The same manufacturing that we're doing on 199, which is just processing wood. There's no solvents, there's no chemicals, there's nothing dirty about it. It's just wood.
So you don't do any finishing, it's just.
We have a different finishing facility in Connecticut, no finishing in Pine Plains.
So that's a potential hurdle with our zoning. Warehouses are permitted in the Main Street zone. Retail is permitted in the Main Street zone. Manufacturing is not.
Right, but we're talking about something that's been there before.
Understood.
So, and we understand that those uses would be specially permitted uses from the planning board. So we understand that in addition to getting site plan approval, we would have to get a special use permit approval for you. And, the wetlands, we're still, working on that, but I guess the question I have is if we are within, the 100-foot setback, is it the planning board that grants a permit in Pine Plains, or is it?
Permit for what?
Do you need to get a wetlands permit locally, or is it strictly?
Yeah.
Was that?
Planning board.
The planning board, okay, so it would not be a variance of any sort, it would be a permit from the planning board, okay, so that might be another thing.
Right, you'll need a delineation of where the wetlands are and what your plan is to do around them.
It's under the DEC threshold right now, but I mean, they are changing the regulations, so we would have to take a look at that.
Yeah, as of
But-
January 1st.
Right, so we would look at everything and do our due diligence and take a hard look at all that. And have that defined when we submit.
I mean, the other possibility is the town board may be receptive to a amendment to its zoning code. If it's clearly beneficial, the use is clearly beneficial to the town,
Right.
we could avoid possibly spot zoning issues that way. So that's another possibility.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. I mean, we can have that conversation and, we'll look at that too.
My last plea or question, maybe a little unfair, but I am a small business owner in this town and I have to make a decision. And I'm just trying to get a mood read if people like this idea or don't like it. That's it.
Better than what's there now.
I like it.
Absolutely.
I have a small business. I go for it.
There's nothing
What's
there.
that?
I have a small business too. I would go for it if I were you.
Okay, well, we should come back with the board.
I'm not. But
So you have 40 of.
the ZBA, they gave at least a partial thumbs up, if not a full thumbs up. And,
So who is first though? Is it the Z, like, does it go to the ZBA
if the
like-
variances would have to go to them first.
Yeah.
first?
So first, under secra, assuming the planning board is the lead agency, you would have to do your. What we hope is a negative declaration, but your determination before the ZBA can act as an involved agency. So there'd have to be some kind of threshold review. We would go to the ZBA and then I think we would come back to you at some point. And, this can all be done more or less concurrently, so. From my
I
experience.
think that we'd probably have to arrange a couple joint meetings to just get a feel for what all the concerns are. I think that my knowledge is the issues would end up being, are there any, would there be any further problems with whatever wetlands are identified? And I think for the most part on that site, I've seen what's happened there. I think it's been obliterated for the most part. I'm not sure, if anyone are at fault or, was there anything really there? And then the other concern is going to be runoff, because that ditch runs all the way to Stissing Lake. Those would be to me, the environmental issues that need to be looked at, since the planning board will be charged with the nuances of the site plan and the special permit. And honestly, I think that you guys are better at it. We would look to have the environmental review done through the planning board, but for you to do that, you have to sort of get a feel for what the ZBA is thinking. So I'm thinking that we would have to arrange a couple joint meetings there in the beginning to just get a feel for where everybody was and what the concerns were.
That even makes sense to me.
Have a workshop meeting and talk about.
But as far as the concept and for like ending up as the gateway property, you know, it sounds great to me. Do you, do you think you'd be recusing from this or you?
I don't think I'd have to.
You don't have to. Yeah, it's up to you. 1,000 neighbors.
He owns the property. Right?
Okay. Yeah, just behind the building, yeah. It's one of those funny lot line adjustments that's on. It sneaks up to the mountain a little bit. It wraps over towards the water tower. Oh, yeah, there's a little pond back here. But yeah, it comes over this way and then goes up. It sneaks up to the mountain somehow. I'm not sure how he created that one, but.
I didn't realize that.
No, it's no, I
I didn't know it's in your presence.
No.
Yeah, any issues with us as your neighbor?
No, I think a great presentation. I think it was I think a similar concept that fits well, but obviously it's more than just our quick thoughts, so.
Right.
If the issues
I like
can
the idea looks great.
if the issues can be worked out and legal and environmental, sounds good to me.
Great. I promise you'll be a good neighbor. Give my word.
I was just gonna comment earlier, you said you have 30 plus employees. I consider that a little bit more than a small business. It's a lot of families.
There's a lot of family.
Yes, it is.
There's a little bit of pressure.
I understand it. I understand it.
And you intend to increase the number of employees, it sounds like?
Yeah, we've kind of outgrown that facility, and so I can't add the equipment that I'd like to add. As soon as I can add the equipment that we want, we can add several more people. Yeah, I mean, I have a very ambitious appetite, an insatiable appetite for building this business up, so I hope to make it kind of the best wood flooring company in the country. Right now, we're competing for that. But my goal is to be the best, so.
Noise from the operation?
What's that?
Would noise from the operation be an issue that we would have to think about?
I don't think so. You're welcome to come see our current operation. It's noisy inside, but it's not noisy outside. Outside, we would have a couple of like wood misers. So that's sort of like a homeowner saw, where we cut antique beams. But most of the machinery is run from 8 to 4:30, and it's not that noisy outside of the building. But you're welcome to come by.
There's not too many, there's only like, what, like a couple of houses or one.
There's one here. She's Liz is nothing on Liz, and then there's Dale's tiny houses up here.
That's not a house.
And then Stewart's.
Jack, you had a question, and I'll let you.
Well, some was the, like planers and stuff like that, they're very noisy, I just wondered, that was one of it, but. The stuff with the land you guys were talking about, Bill did that like in front of everybody 3 years ago, and nobody cared that he dug these ponds and moved dirt around.
Oh, yeah.
That was done right in front of everybody's eyes, and nobody said anything.
Well, Drew was looking at it. I was in contact with Drew. He did everything under the threshold of what, just that it didn't constitute mining. It didn't, it was like just let. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe just look at that belt. They all went down fire belt. So there's no capacity stuff when something might want to look into.
What, the existing building?
Yeah, they all came from, their Florida buildings. So the snow loads and all that kind of stuff is way different than here. That might be just something to look at for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, well, we look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, so that's positive vibes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Jamie, you have a card? I have a question that's not related to
You need
this,
a
but
floor.
related. What's that?
You need a floor? I don't have a business card, but I'll leave this with you and I'll write my phone and email.
Can I keep this?
Yeah. So it's not official.
I understand.
They have a nice
That's a
website.
nice
Let me put it on
notepad.
here for you.
Oh,
All right,
Okay, thank you all for your time. I'm
Yeah,
sorry we
sure.
took up so much.
no, not at all. It's exciting.
so we just gotta do the minutes.
That's it.
I have to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't need to apologize for something like that. That's just the way
So.
we're made, you know?
Consultant, you guys do well. I'm just asking.
More questions.
Thank you, guys.
That's something that we do.
Okay. Okay, well, good. Well,
And it sounds like a hey.
yeah, we'll take that under advice.
What's your name?
Scott, Katie.
Scott. Jamie.
Pleasure. So, like,
What's your first name?
Al,
Al.
it's nice to meet you.
What do you do?
No, I just, bought a family potentially someday we. My rest, my family owns a 20 pieces to us. And then all their locks, their house.
so is it all?
A little bit of fishing in the pond. So
I think great.
all it's for there, it's really good.
You just did. What the hell?
Well, it's, okay.
Not many people watch that.
Nobody has to get back there now. Those cocktails are.
Bye, Jamie.
full.
See you again.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. What's your first name? Maria. Nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
Hi,
What's your name?
Dick.
Dick? Jamie?
Yeah.
Yes,
Jim.
Dick has oblong book.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yep.
She's
My God.
different.
Major, major.
Oblong.
Hey,
That's
Brian.
me.
Is that? Brian, you want to?
That's me.
I was gonna say who owns who, right?
My daughter and I run it now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's Philip Milligan and Ryan Beck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extra fast.
My kids love them.
Reagan Nationals. Have you ever been?
Hey, Jamie,
That's-
Jamie,
Yeah, hey Scott.
Jamie, Kate here next to you is also one of the big business owners in Pine Plains,
I
being
know.
part of Ronniebrook.
I know. Kate's a
Ronniebrook
legend.
Farms.
Nice to meet you, Kate.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for joining and helping.
Okay, thanks, Warren.
Good luck, Jamie.
Thanks, everybody.
Wow.
Thank you. Motives for this we can say. Well, they used to be up. It's a lot of it's the main free zone. So right.
Rezone. Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, they make it seem.
Sarah, your yarn is,
He's not pretty tough. Jack will be speaking before it's a car, you know, automotive or elevator and shops. The point is that on the Penrose Listening Center, he really mind. Love the door. So many more of this dizzy. Well, that's great.
Jack Banning hit me up big time.
Your arm was twisted.
Oh, yeah. It's white oak. Yeah, really beautiful wood.
And it, was it true?
The raw, we probably put a big guy could throw it in there. Yeah, we're polymer.
Well, yeah.
Right.
do we have anything else on that?
Let's say.
Approve the minutes.
Just the minutes.
Well, thank you. Nice
There
to
you
see you.
go.
Good to see you. Take care.
Sorry about that. We want me to.
All right, so, minutes.
Well, it's not that bad.
There was.
Yes, I bet the.
Everyone had a chance to review the minutes? No further corrections? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ed? He went out the back door. He's out over this way. You might catch him. He's in the truck. You there? Can you hear? He's driving a truck, I believe. I'm not totally sure. But did we vote? Yes, we also.
Yeah. We're done. I have something. Then we've been through Bulvis Corners lately and seen that old church.
Yeah,
Yes.
drive by it twice a
Done.
day.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really that.
I saw it yesterday.
Really curious to see what they did on the inside.
The
Yeah,
Grange,
well,
Maybe they just did shell at this point.
what's that?
somebody said it was a Grange building
It was,
originally.
once upon a time, it was a church.
It was
That was donated to the
Church.
community. It's a non-denominational church,
No, one
It was in the house next door with a parsonage.
I guess.
October's born.
Hmm.
It was-
And for years, you go by, you're like, oh, there's a building there. It's like,
Yeah.
rolling
Yeah.
over like in the jungle.
Yeah.
I've actually seen a couple people stop to photograph it while it's still covered.
Hmm. Yeah, it was interesting.
It was. It is.
Janine, did you, you don't have to say the person's name out loud, but like, did you speak to the prospective member? After we talked, or
Janine,
Yes,
oh,
is she still interested?
yes.
Good. Okay, so you think the board will act on it in your next meeting?
Well, I think I was looking for your recommendation and then yes.
But I got back to you.
So you said, yes, you spoke to her. Are you in favor?
Yeah, yes, I think she would be.
Okay, great.
I thought I.
Do they have a pulse? Can they attend the meeting?
Pass the mirror test. Gotta pass the mirror test. Yep, fogs up, you're in.
I apologize for that miscommunication. I
No,
thought-
that's okay.
I thought
I wanted to know from you if you supported that. Nomination, yeah.
Oh, I said, yes, I believe she is.
Okay,
He says, is she a viable candidate? I said, yes, I believe she is.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I wasn't,
so
Um,
am I supposed to bring that to the board or are you?
no, you guys can,
Okay.
you just relay my approval,
Okay.
yeah, I said, yeah. I like it. If I have a chance, I'll talk to Kevin.
And so that's just one, you still need one more.
It would be nice, yeah, if we had one more alternate. Scott's now a regular member, right? You guys acted on that already, correct? Scott's a regular.
Yeah, I got my email with my promotion, Brian. What, yeah, the notification in the
Double
email, the
salary.
promotion, and that's the first check. Was
Mhm.
twice what I had gotten as an alternate, and that's already cleared in the
And
bank.
the
Yeah.
All right, and nothing else? Anyone have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
All right,
Cycle.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?